sort of, there are also different kinds of unhappiness, right? And, this is not an original observation to say that modernity sort of solves a bunch of problems of basic subsistence and that are sort of fundamental drivers of deep tragedy and unhappiness for most of human history, but generate sort of new and somewhat different problems of sort of existential meaning and so on that seem to beset people. And there is, I'm going to throw French novels back at you. I tried to read Les Miserables a few years ago because my kids got really, really into the soundtrack to the Broadway show, and we listened to it over and over again. And I was like, maybe I should actually read this novel. And I did not finish the novel because my attention span has been destroyed by the iPhone, and it is 1,217 pages long, and I made it like 650 pages in. But I'm still going to say something about it, right? Which is that Hugo has this insane confidence in that book that, he, and, 19th century France and the modern world, but he, right, is figuring things out and making things better. And it's he's like, okay, tell story, tell story, tell story. People die, Javert, Valjean, and so on. Pause. We're going to do 50 pages on exactly which parts of Catholicism we need to keep and which parts we need to get rid of in order to achieve the better future.
Yeah.
Right? And that, and that energy, I think, is recognizable in a lot of 19th century literature. And even whether it's Zola or, Dickens and so on, the people who are doing the kind of muckraking and sort of showing you the pity and horror of, poverty and suffering, they too have a bunch of that spirit, right? And, if you read novels nowadays, around the same time I was trying to read that book, I was trying to read the latest Sally Rooney novel. And the Sally Rooney novel is it's like, I've got this peach here. Am I gonna eat the peach? Maybe I'll masturbate while I think about whether to eat the peach. And in the latest one, it's well, we're gonna go to church. It sure is interesting to go to church. There are some people here who believe in God. It'd be nice to believe in God. We can't believe in God, that's too weird. And I'm sorry, but there's something going on in Hugo that's not going on in Rooney that is worthwhile and that we've lost. And it's okay to say, we don't want to go back to the grinding poverty of Germinal or whatever Zola novel, which I haven't read, but I can name check it. But also say, there also has to be something besides this sort of hysterical paralysis that informs at least some aspects. I'm generalizing, right? But some aspects of life in a world where, the fertility rate is 1.4, and people are doom scrolling all the time. And, again, these are just things that, being a pessimist, I like to bring up. But I'm not a pessimist, so.
Let me